Hello and thanks for watching the Stephen Mendes channel. I made this short video today to show you what you can expect in terms of tuning accuracy on the oscillators when you buy a DOTCOM system. I have 5 Q106 oscillators in my setup, and 3 of them track perfectly across the range switch from 32 foot to 2 foot. This is one that does not, and I have it perfectly tuned for the 8 foot. So now as I switch to the 4 and the 2, it goes slightly sharp, and as I switch below the 8 to the 16 and the 32, it goes slightly flat. Okay, by 1 LED on the display. But notice that the perfect tune green one is still on. So all I'm going to tell you at the conclusion of this video is how many cents it's out of tune in switching of the range switch between the 32 and the 2 position. So that particular oscillator goes sharp at higher frequencies and flat at lower frequencies below the 8 foot C. Now this one here, the only other one in my setup that's not perfect, this one here goes flat as the frequency goes higher. So that's the 2 foot, the 4 foot, the 8 foot is okay, it's tuned on the 8 foot. And then when you go down to the 16 and the lower 32, it's actually sharp. So in one case the tracking is the opposite. It goes sharp at higher frequencies and flat at lower frequencies. And in this one the exact opposite is true. It goes sharp at lower frequencies and flat at higher frequencies. But in all cases the perfect tune light is still on. So what we need to do is determine the sense, the musical sense, that how much it's sharp or flat. You can always talk about percentages, and you can always talk about cycles. Cycles for these physicists, percentages for the statisticians. But as musicians, we want to know how many cents it is sharp or flat. Now bear in mind that that's only the range switch sweeping across the various frequencies, the octaves if you will. But we want to see how the tracking is. We want to see what's the best tracking and the worst tracking. But before we can check the tracking, we want to actually see their standards module is supposed to put out A440. We want to see whether it's really A440 or not. Okay, as you can see, I have this yellow wire here plugged into my A440 Hertz output. See there where it says A440, it's turned on and I've got the output. From the time that the A440 arrived in the mail, it was reading a little sharp. Notice here that here now it seems to be perfectly sharp in the sense that the green light is no longer as bright. Although the green light is slightly illuminated, I don't know if you can see it there, but the sharp light is higher. Now I took the module out of the case and turned the adjustment at the back. It only has one adjustment for the frequency. So I turned it to bring it perfect, to bring the pot perfect to the exact tune and put it back in. But it doesn't hold it. It likes to either be sharp or flat by a little bit. So what I'm saying is that even with the fine tuning frequency adjustment, it has a coarse and a fine tune. Even with the fine tuning adjustment on the pot at the back, you can't get it perfect all the time. It does wander either slightly sharp or flat. But once again, it's within that window there of the two LEDs being coming on, either the first sharp one or the first flat one, and you're always still getting some green light from the perfect tune, which means it's not as many cents away. So the only thing that I have to do now for you is to calibrate my tuner in terms of cents, so that I can show you visually what this means in terms of cents error that's possible with the system. After watching the material on the tuning of your oscillators in your analog modular synthesizer, you may have reached the conclusion that this is a bad product. Well, that's not really true, because if you have a Stratocaster guitar, one of the American-made Stratocaster guitars by Fender, therefore the creme de la creme of modern guitars, you will be shocked to know that as you tune and move your hand up the fretboard, your intervals can vary by as much as 20 cents. Yes, folks, you heard it correct. 20 cents from the ideal standard. And that's a perfectly made instrument as they come. So you can imagine that with inexpensive guitars like Squiers and other brands, PV and so forth, chances are your intervals could even be more off. Although with the engineering that's available today, even a cheap guitar has pretty much accuracy in the positioning of the frets and the adjustment of the neck and so forth, so that it's not off. But that's just to let you know that 20 cents, which would seem like an awful lot, because in digital it's not going to be out by a single cent across the keyboard in the entire range. So, if you want perfection, definitely don't be dealing with analog. But the very best analog equipment is going to at least have tuning as good as guitars and violins. Thanks for watching the Stephen Mendes channel, and I'll see you soon again.